we are back for the backup plan with the series What Can a War Do of Episode 2. As promised regarding the food security and grocery store has 72 hours to live, we'll understand what happens to your food supply chain when the grid fails, and what elite families plans the survival. Let understands the mechanism the cascade. Hour by hour. First at hour 0. Grid fails. Power goes out. Cold chain switches to backup generators. Nobody panics yet. The clock starts. Every JIT algorithm that places tomorrow's order now has no way to communicate with distribution centers. Second, within hour 4, cold chain condemned. USDA threshold crossed. All refrigerated food in every store is formally unsafe. Supermarket COE systems trigger emergency relief valves. A deafening alarm that signals the food loss is already happening. Restocking requires a technician call and 4-6 hours of recharging. That call cannot be made if communications are also down. Third, within 8 hours the fuel pumps stop. Fuel pumps require electricity to operate. Delivery trucks cannot refuel. During Texas winter storm Uri, trucking load-to-truck ratios spiked 29% as vehicles idled at closed depots. Cross-border shipments from Mexico, which normally take 1 day, took 2 to 3 days. Restocking convoys halt. Fourth, within 12 hours, the panic buying begins. First images of empty shelves reach social media. Monash University research confirms, even 10 to 15% of shoppers buying one extra item collapses the JIT system entirely. The self-sustaining shortage begins. In Texas during Uri, one Kroger opened with full shelves at 8 a.m. and was sold out of bread, milk, eggs and water by midday. Fifth, within 24 hours the remaining inventory exhausted. What survived the condemned food disposal is panic bought within hours. In the UK 2000 fuel protest, 4 days of tanker blockades created nationwide shortages. Joaquin Castro described Uri conditions as worse than even the early days of the pandemic. 200 Walmart locations closed simultaneously. Sixth, with around 72 hours, rural and suburban communities cut off. In Puerto Rico after Maria, communities in mountainous and rural areas received food only by helicopter for weeks. Roads remained 80% closed. In a UK grid failure, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, all dependent on cross-border JIT logistics, faced disproportionate exposure. The families without stored food enter survival mode. This is not hypothetical. It has happened, on US territory, in living memory. Here is the concession nobody wants to make. The 3-layer protocol requires you to already have the supplies before the crisis. After a grid attack or infrastructure breach, the food grocery survival, just like water. Let's understand the protocol during such scenario. About 3 levels of food contamination that are identified with 3 colors. First level, it is marked as yellow alert. It happens during JIT failure. Panic buying by 24 to 72 hours. Supply disruption. Weather, strike. Viral social media image. Stores restock in 24 to 72 hours. Once conditions clear. Uncomfortable. If you have no reserve at home, request is do not go to the store. Draw from your 2-week dry pantry. Back up your going to the store is the panic buying. If you are from USA, then you can buy canned beans, pasta, rice, oats, peanut butter, canned tomatoes, cooking oil, salt. If you from UK, buy tinned pulses, pasta, rice, UHT milk, canned veg, cooking oil, salt. Rotate stock every 6 months. This is your safe survival planning. Second level, it as marked as orange alert. It happens during extended grid failure. Cold chain gone. Power out 40 hours. Refrigerated food condemned. Trucks unable to refuel. Restocking is not coming today. This is Winter Storm Uri territory. Instead of being panic, work through fridge contents first. In order of perishability. Shift entirely to stored dry goods and shelf-stable items. Use camp stove or gas BBQ now. Do not wait. Boil all water, if under a municipal advisory. Fill bathtubs with water while pressure holds. Prioritize the food intake. Third and the last most critical level, it is marked as red alert. It happens during infrastructure attack. Logistics frozen. This leads to deliberate sustained grid failure. Logistics paralyzed. Government rationing is possible in such situations. This is Puerto Rico, September 2017. Documented on US territory. Let's understand the solution. Draw from 30-day reserve backup plan that we studied. This is the most safe pre-planning for the survival during this critical period when every food and groceries not only be in shortage, but will also be at higher prices to buy from supermarket. So, with the backup ration from day one, do cook once, eat twice, minimize fuel consumption, activate neighborhood mutual aid network. Know your nearest FEMA distribution point in advance. Do not advertise your reserves. Let's understand and accept, in a war zone or crisis situation where electricity and cold storage are unavailable, survival depends on high-calorie, nutrient-dense foods that are naturally shelf-stable. In the time-honored practices by our ancestral wisdom that were incredibly smart, long before we had refrigerators, they used ancient wisdom to protect their food from bugs, moisture, and rot. With all the news about wars and uncertainty lately, it's actually really helpful to look back at these traditional survival foods. Let's break down how different countries stayed prepared. Using a simple flow, the country, the survival food, and the protective coating. Take the USA and Canada, for example. They relied on things like pure maple syrup and pemmican. The secret for the syrup. It's the sugar density. It's naturally too thick for bacteria to even grow. For pemmican, which is a mix of dried meat and berries, they used rendered tallow or fat as a coating. This creates an airtight seal that blocks out oxygen. The best part. These foods provide massive amounts of energy and protein for a long time. No fridge required. I know I'm talking fast, so feel free to check out this chart for more countries. Go ahead and take a screenshot now to save it. If you don't see your country on the list, tell us in the comments. We'll do the research and make a special video featuring the traditions from your part of the world. Do you think you're ready for a crisis? Most people focus on the wrong things. This was our series. What can a war do to infrastructure? It simply means, what can it do to us? Coming up next, my team and I are dropping the big one. We're talking scientifically grounded research on what happens to your money supply chain 72 hours into a grid failure. Most people think their cards will work. No, they won't. I am going to show you exactly where the cash goes and how to stay ahead of the freeze.